here to do the presentation regarding the financing options for Ubisoft Entertainment uh, SA, and I would like to present about the company. The Ubisoft Entertainment SA is a video game developer and publisher team that is founded in France in 1986. The company is well established in the gaming industry and is one of the largest publishers and developers in the industry. The mission statement of the company is that Ubisoft is a leading creator, publisher, and distributor of interactive entertainment and services with a rich portfolio of world-renowned brands. Teams throughout Ubisoft's worldwide network of studios and business offices are committed to delivering original and memorable gaming experiences across all popular platforms. There are several main competitors for Ubisoft. As I mentioned before, Ubisoft covers both game developing and game publishing. So they are both developers and publisher for their own games and other games from smaller scale developers. The competitors from the developer side would be other well-renowned gaming and interactive entertainment developers such as Electronic Arts, which is known as EA, Activision Blizzard, which has several online and single-player titles. Nintendo is a famous company from Japan, and Sony Entertainment is actually a subsidiary based in United States that is a subsidiary of the Sony Japan. And there are other smaller scale developers that have beloved titles in the gaming industry. They hand out they have less frequent handouts of products, but their games are more memorable because because the nature of their slower pace of publishing. On the publisher side, the competitors are other large corporations that mainly focus on publishing games. They may have scratched the surface of developing games, or they may even not develop their own games at all. Tencent is a Chinese tech and internet giant. They have published several well-known titles from uh, developers all over the world into the Chinese market. Microsoft and Apple has each of their own application store, and Valve is involved to a publishing online publishing platform for computer games, computers, as known as Steam. The Steam platform is a probably the go-to platform for gamers to purchase new titles and for developers to publish their new titles. The core competency of Ubisoft is that this company has a rich history and has a handful of famous franchises. These are just these are just mentions of the vast amount of games Ubisoft has developed or is developing. And all these games cover all different kinds of genre. There are traditional side-scrolling adventure games, there are role-playing games, and there are shooters for both first-person and third-person shooters. Also, there are racing games, family games like Just Dance and board game adaptations, and Ubisoft just covers a wide range of titles and games for all kinds of gamers. Going on to introduce the senior management team, all of them have stayed with Ubisoft for quite some time, and they have overlooked the operation of this multinational corporation and all over the world. The EMEA executive director is Alan Core. The worldwide studio executive director is Christine Bouget-Kamar. The co-founder and CEO is Yves Guillemot, and he is the youngest of three brothers that founded this company. The chief creative officer is Sergey Haskoet, and the NCSA executive director is Laurent Dito. The Ubisoft Entertainment covers a lot of their social responsibility, given the nature of that they are a huge giant in the video game industry. They provide a global network of studios and businesses all over the world. Their offices and studios, they have more than 30 studios and offices combined all over the world. Uh, there are in Europe, Africa, Asia, and America, and it created thousands of jobs in the whole world. They also have their distinctive graduate programs where they have collaborations with colleges and universities regarding graphics design and game development. A lot of them are handed out to existing employees in the company to further improving their skills. And they Ubisoft also arrange annually uh, organize meetings for new startup in the industry to either meet with investors or to present their ideas to publishers, which Ubisoft is one of them, and help independent developers to get into the industry easier. There are three forms of businesses, which is sole proprietary, cooperation, and uh, partnership. Uh, Ubisoft is an SA company, which stands for Society Anonyme, which is roughly the same as a public limited company. It's in French. The pros of public limited company is that the liabilities of the business stands on its own. No owners or shareholders have liability to the business. The cons of this type of business is that not all owners have direct control to the business. Only the board of directors, which is selected members of owners, have controls. And even the board of directors can only express their concern and comments and uh, advices to the chief executive officer. Uh, in Ubisoft's case, the when I mentioned Yves Guillemot, which he is one of the co-founder of the business. He is also the current CEO of this business. So it would be better for Ubisoft's case because he is on the board of directors and he is the CEO of the business and it is his he founded this business. There are a couple options to finance for Ubisoft if there is new project or expansion incoming. For long-term financing, I would definitely choose debt financing for such a large-scale organization. For a multinational corporation like Ubisoft, they definitely have steady monthly income and a good overall credit score, so it would not be hard for them to get financing from financial institutes. And however, because the nature of such a large scale Ubisoft has, they require a huge amount of financing if they have a new project or expansion in the near future. So there is also another option to finance, which is equity financing. Ubisoft is already publicly traded at the Paris Stock Exchange, so if they were to issue new stocks, it will help them raise funds easily, which is a lot easier for a public traded company than debt financing and going to financial institutes and ask for loans. The weighted average cost of a capital of Ubisoft or WACC of Ubisoft is not necessarily looking good for 2018. First quarter of 2018, Ubisoft has a 9.96 WACC, which means Ubisoft has to make more than 10% of profit in order to return properly to its investors. And that may raise some red flags for investors and saying this company needs to make too much of a profit to be efficient, and a lot of investors may steer away. However, the case in first quarter of 2015, 3 years ago, the company's WACC is only 2.26%. It has shown a constant increase for the past 3 years up until the first quarter of this year, which is almost 10%. This is not necessarily a bad thing. As we know, Ubisoft is a multinational corporation, and it has steady expansion all over all these years. These recent years, Ubisoft has pushed out a lot of quality content and beloved titles. And they have built a strong intangible asset base, and they can continue to develop more lucrative future content that has a loyal player base. So actually, it is not that hard for Ubisoft to reach 10% of the profit. Another thing about Ubisoft is that they just announced that there will be two new studios located in Canada, and that may be one of the reasons that the WACC of Ubisoft for first quarter is so high because there is an ongoing expansion for them, and these expansions, I believe, will become one of the strengths for Ubisoft. This, as I had been going through for the past 10 minutes, Ubisoft is founded back in 1986, where the gaming industry is just blooming and it is very experienced. This company has grew with this industry as the gaming industry was almost nothing back in 1986. The Ubisoft also has a global network of studios and business offices, as I mentioned before. It provides thousands of jobs to hard workers all over the world. And because of that nature, Ubisoft can deliver its content faster to every corner of the world. Ubisoft also has a sizable intangible assets, as I just have said, such as goodwill. It has because they have pushed out many good content and beloved titles. The goodwill, the loyalty of their player base is steady and strong. Ubisoft also developed its own engine to create games that makes them easier for internal communication and content sharing for all these studios across the world, and it results in a better optimization because the engines can be improved as games were made. The feedback is a lot easier, and because of it is a internal feedback, it can be resolved quite frequently. And it waives the premium fee of using a third-party engine because smaller scale developers does not have the amount of asset on hand to develop their own engine. They have to use a third-party engine, and each time they publish a title using a third-party engine, they need to pay the premium fee, which is a certain percentage of their gain to the engine creator. Ubisoft does not have that problem because they use their own engine, which will result in a better revenue or income for every content they publish. However, there are weaknesses for this company. Ubisoft, because of the existing franchises, they may be limited the direction they can expand, and the current trend of gaming industry does not necessarily fit with the existing games Ubisoft has. Ubisoft also has had negative feedback regarding several titles upon release recently. I'm not gonna go into details here, but on the other hand, the titles mentioned above has been improved over time, and some some of the player base are seeing hopes that these games are becoming better, and there are a lot of player base coming back to the game. This opens the window for sequels and more future patch and constant updates to existing titles. And there are actually already sequels revealed for a couple games at this year's E3 exhibition for the gaming industry. There are also new studios in plan, as I have mentioned before, and they should be able to take workloads off of other studios, increasing efficiency, resulting in better games upon release, and maybe increasing the title they can push out eventually. The current operation model of Ubisoft is that a lot of studios has their specialty. They are assigned specific tasks. For example, in a lot of role-playing games, there are survival aspects, and Ubisoft Shanghai studio is very well known for its excellency in building a fantastic survival aspect for games. And the new studios can also be assigned specific tasks regarding any type of games so that they can constantly improving one aspect of the game as their tasks. And when combined works of all these different type of all these different studios, they can make a fantastic game. Regarding the threats, uh, there are a lot of competitors mentioned at the beginning of this presentation that they are they are going to push a lot of also well-known titles into the market in the late quarter in the last quarter of this year, and Ubisoft does not have that much title going to be publishing this year. The one that's already revealed in this year's E3 is gonna be in, com in com competing with a lot of other titles from other co developers, other publishers, and even other platforms. And because the wide access to game developing techniques and technologies have been on has been enabled by our internet, there are more and more independent developers and studios that are developing games, awesome games into this market. This market and this industry is nearly saturated because of these existing huge companies. And these independent developers really has to hand out something exquisite to take away the market share from these industries. And these Ubisoft is one of the corporation that is huge in the industry, and they have bottlenecks because of the existing franchises. It is very hard for large companies in this industry to expand into new areas, and some of the idea may already be taken by the independent developers. However, as I have said, the existing even the existing franchises can be a limitation and can be a bliss because there are loyal player bases that will not switch to other games because they love the game title, the franchise, and the company so much. And this this threat can be a strength to the company. And that being said, I believe even if the WACC shows the Ubisoft has to make a 10% profit, it will not be hard for Ubisoft to actually reach that, and it is still going to be a efficient return to investors. And given the nature of such a large-scale company, Ubisoft has steady returns and lucrative returns to investors. So I would say it would be a great idea to invest into Ubisoft. And thank you. That will be all.